Jen, Jack, and Molly. It's Dad. I'm making this video for you guys. Really, I love you guys very much, and enjoy. Here we go. Alright, so if things look weird, it's because I'm not completely used to using this handheld device. Alright, so our first plant that we're going to talk about back here is the dragon fruit, and it's pretty massive, as you can see. This is pink graffiti, if I understand the variety correctly. This vine has to be pruned back so that you can get into the back here. But it also, when it's flowering, needs to be hand pollinated. And if you watch my video with Edgar Valdivia and Rick, you can learn how to hand pollinate just fine. I'm not super fond of it because we haven't gotten a lot of fruit off of it, but the fruit is a purple, like a red flesh, and it is really good. We just don't get a lot off of it. So hopefully in the coming year or years, we'll get more out of it. Otherwise, yeah, you got to watch out for the spines, but it's kind of neat looking. I'm hit or miss on it. Alright, our next tree we're talking about here is an Atamoya. I just recently got it at the green scene. This is a grafted Atamoya, but I'm not sure what variety. It could be Gefner, it could be African Paride, or Dream, or PPC, or one of the ones that we don't know. The nice thing about Atamoya, it's in the Annona family with Cherimoyas and Soursops that we'll go over soon. But the nice thing about this is it's self-fertile, so you don't have to hand pollinate it. Once it flowers, it should develop fruit on its own. So that's the Atamoya. This big guy is a Loquat, and I got this when we first moved into this house from Gary Matsuoka at Laguna Hills Nursery. It is a champagne, which is one of the white varieties, Loquat, and it's pretty good. I try to trim it back and keep it no taller than maybe like 10 feet, which is probably about 8 or 9 feet now. But it will grow and keep on growing if you don't trim it. This next one is Mom's favorite. This is the Fahoa, or the pineapple guava. Excuse me as I try and figure out how to use this camera. And there's two actually here. I'm not sure what the varieties are, but I got both of them at the green scene, Charles A. Fullerton green scene. And Molly really likes to eat the petals of the flowers. This is one of the ones that you can eat the petals of. They don't look great right now, but trying to see if I can find one. No, not really. But the fruit, to me, kind of tastes somewhat like pineapple, I guess. But the nice thing about this is that it produces a lot of fruit, and the fruit is ripe when it falls off, or it's just ready, about to fall off. When it hits the ground, it's ripe. Otherwise, if you pick it early, it won't be bruised, but it won't. You'll need to maybe let it sit on the counter for a little bit. The taste is kind of grainy, sugary, and yeah, that's the Fajoa, or the pineapple guava. Now, looking down here real quick at the base of the Loquat, we've got some Okinawa spinach. This is an edible green. It's got a purple stem on it. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. A purple stem on it, and you can eat it. This though is a weed, so if you see these actually produce like a little purple violet colored flower, and but we don't like weeds, so I just pick them and throw them back down. Alright, moving along. This is next door to that. It's an Acerola Barbados cherry, and it's said to have the highest vitamin C content. They produce these little beautiful pink flowers, and I keep it as a shrub, although it probably could be a tree. I wouldn't let it get bigger than 6-7 feet. Just chop the top off, and you're just fine. It recovers pretty quickly. Let's see here. This guy right here was planted just very recently. This is a Soursop, and this tree needs to be protected in the wintertime. You can see I've got some white poles set up around the Soursop. It's planted between the Fahoa and the Acerola for protection, but the white poles will hold up some clear plastic sheeting, 6mm painters sheeting is what I think that's called, and you just wrap it around the poles during the winter time, and it will protect the Soursop from cold damage. They don't like the cold, so it's doing really good right now, but yeah, you'll need to protect it in the winter time, otherwise it'll die. You'll notice that the Soursop, along with some of our other trees, are kind of planted below ground level, and I do that for water collection purposes. I also do that because I believe that it may also create a microclimate, and so if anyone ever asks, that's why. You'll notice that there's some green tape on this Soursop that needs to be removed, otherwise it's going to constrict the growth of the tree, and that's a yummy one. I think that one tastes a lot like, excuse me as I fix the camera, I think Soursop tastes a lot like a cherry Jolly Rancher. So if you're ever curious about the taste, that's what I think. You'll notice that you got a lot of fennel growing. That's what that is. It's an herb. Tastes like black licorice. But fennel is a great herb use as a pollinator source. So the bees come in for it when it's flowering, and that will help pollinate our trees. Now this tree that's right in front of me is called a cherimoya. It's like an atamoya. An atamoya is a cross between a cherimoya and a sugar apple. This is a cherimoya. This is supposed to be the best tasting of all the Annona trees, but this variety is called El Bumpo, which is my favorite tasting. And when you get fruit finally on this, you'll realize why it's called El Bumpo. This tree ideally should be hand pollinated, which I have videos of Let's Find Out for you to check out to learn how to do that. But plenty of CRFG members say they do not hand pollinate their cherimoyas. They get less fruit, but eventually when it does get of size, and it should be able to handle it itself. This is what the flowers of the cherimoya look like. Can't really see that great, I'm sorry, but this is a female flower, and I know that because the 3 petals are closed. Isabel once told me that it's kind of like a boy and a girl. A girl keeps her legs closed, and that's how you know it's a female flower, and a boy likes to keep his legs open. And Jack, you'll get that later on. Well, I'm sorry, Jen. I know that was not a good joke. But the male flower, when you see the male flower open, then you collect its pollen and you insert it into the female flower to pollinate. These are all Suriname cherries. They're all different varieties. However, this taller one, the one looks like it doesn't have a lot of leaves, and the leaves are kind of, looks like it needs some water. It may not be a Suriname cherry. The fruit is completely round and large, so, but the fruit is all good tasting, and everyone seems to like it. So those are good. That should turn into a hedge, and you can prune it into a hedge. I haven't seen them get very tall, but maybe 10-15 feet. I would suggest with all these trees here that you guys keep them at no more than 10 feet. You just cut the top off, and you can prune it. It's not going to hurt the tree. Shape it any way you want. If it dies, it dies. Just take it out or replace it if you want. If not, no big deal. All right, looking down here, we've got 2 little seedlings, and I hope they get bigger. This is called Patangatuba, okay? And it's in the Eugenia family, or in the Suriname cherry family. Okay? And then behind it, okay, right here, and then right here, we've got the Pitamber, which is also in the Eugenia family with the Suriname cherries. And these fruit, the Pitamber supposedly tastes like apricot, which I've never had. And the Patangatuba, or the star cherry as it's also called, is a big, like a ginormous Suriname cherry, but a little bit more tart, and it's yellow, but it's really big. Right next door, these look like weeds, but this is actually longevity spinach, and you can eat the leaves. They say the new leaves are better than the old leaves, so if you let this grow, it's kind of a ground cover right now, but these are weeds. I need to clean. This is flowering right now, but the young leaves is what's supposedly good. They say it's good for diabetics. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it tastes very good. Right here we've got a kaimito, or also called star apple. I just got that at the recent green scene, and it's gonna, if it grows, it'll grow probably pretty slow. Looks like there's some new growth there. The nickname for this tree is called breast milk fruit. I don't know why. I've never tried one. This thing that looks like a dandelion weed is actually Malabar spinach, and it's going to produce a red berry that's really good for salads, so don't tear that out. This is another family member of the Eugenia species with the Suriname cherries. This is called Groomy Chama, and I think this is a dwarf one because it grows so slow. Oh, Ace is barking right now. And we got some basil growing at the base of our peach tree. This mom and dad bought this peach tree at a green scene when we first moved into this house, and this is supposed to be a Saturn peach, which is also known as a donut peach, but since then I've grafted on a bunch of other peaches, and I've grafted on some apricot. This is apricot up here. Stone fruit, really easy to graft. If you guys ever decide you want to graft these trees, you can graft cherry and almonds and peaches and pluots and plums and nectarines all to the same tree. Whether it actually produces fruit or not, we'll see about that. But you can see right here, let's see, well, maybe. You can see right here we got some baby fruit. Okay. So it looks like we're gonna get some peaches this year. You may need to thin those peaches out if there's too many of them that are too close together, so they can develop in size. All right. Moving on, in this kind of trench hole, we have some Chacha Chas. Okay. The actual name for that tree is called Chacha Cha, or Bolivian mangosteen. It's in the mangosteen family, which is the Garcinia family. And these are the ones that produce the orange little fruit that's supposed to taste just like pink lemonade. Okay, so we got 3 of them right now. Real small, and they're growing slowly, but hoping for good things one day. Right here we have our Satsuma tangerine. It's on dwarf rootstock, okay? So it's not going to get very big. Probably will only get maybe a few more feet, and it's a good one. It's got delicious fruit. The big thing you got to watch out with this thing is at the base here, where these pots are, it'll send up these spiny stems. They're from the rootstock, which is Flying Dragon, and you just cut that right off because that fruit is not good. It's not good at all. Now we got the ginormous Valencia Orange. This is what we use to do for juice. And there seems to be oranges on this thing all year long. I don't use a lot of them, but the juice is really good, so you know, Christmas time and stuff like that, it's always good. We got some little Eugenias popping up here. I think they're Suriname cherries, and those are delicious. So, one of the things about the Suriname cherries, you'll notice that, sorry, I know it looks like I'm looking over here, and I'm trying to look over here at the camera. So if I just kind of look off this way, don't take it personally. I'm still getting used to this thing. So the thing with the Suriname cherries is there are a lot of them around the house, and it's because I absolutely adore them. I love them. I could eat hundreds of them at a time. They are delicious. All right, moving on from the Valencia Orange, we're going to switch gears here, and I'm going to take you over to the mango tree. Okay? And this, see all those mangoes all over the place? There's a lot of them. You'll probably have to thin those out if they all stay. Usually, you know, most of them will turn yellow like this one right here and just fall right off. But over here you can see there's some bigger ones, right? And if those stay on, you may have to pluck a couple of them off so that they can get bigger. This is called a Kent mango tree, and it's okay fruit. I would say it's probably a 6 out of 10 if I had to rate our mango trees. But I got it pretty big. I got it pretty big in a 15-gallon pot, and it's gotten bigger. I've topped it to try and open up the crown to make the branches wider at the top than it is at the bottom. And yeah, it's a pretty nice fruit. It's pretty. It's got really nice colored fruit. So take a look at that right there. All right, so I forgot to mention something right here. Growing up on either pole, we've got some grapes. These aren't just normal grapes. Of course they're not, because it's me, right? They are Muscane grapes, I believe. They're really big, like the size of golf balls. I tried growing it up the poles here, but sorry, Jen, I know you said you didn't want them there, and so I cut them down. But they've started growing up again. I'll be honest with you, I kind of hope you don't notice, because those grapes are delicious and you should really try it. But if you cut it down, then that's life, right? Alright, so Mexican lime is our next tree in the backyard to go over. They produce real small little limes. There's one on the ground right here. Real little limes that you can use for tacos. There's another one right there. They're kind of hidden. That's about as big as they get. So my finger to give you an idea. Our next one here is the moringa. This is called the tree of life in Africa. It grows very fast. I top it every year. They produce these bean pods, which these are old and dry, but supposedly when they're new, you can eat the pod and the seed. These leaves are also edible, and the great thing is the roots on this tree help the surrounding soil, and it's a nitrogen fixer. It fixes the soil around. So these trees are benefiting around it. Real good. Moringa is a good one. Gets big though. You can chop this thing every year and it'll grow back real nice and give nice branches. So don't be afraid to cut this one up. Okay? This is a Sapodilla. This is a Moreno Sapodilla or Chico Sapote. One of the ones that I'm a big fan of. I did this year. I stripped all the leaves but the very end leaves. I heard about this process on the Vietnamese Facebook page. But look, it worked. We're getting flowers on this tree. Have not gotten flowers yet. So hopefully those flowers develop into fruit. Another friend told me that if you pinch the flower without popping it off, when it's mature and it opens, it'll actually help with the pollination process. So give that a try if you want. But real good fruit. That's the one that tastes like a pear that's been soaked in brown sugar. Not really good for me, I guess, but good for you guys. The next tree is our coconut cream mango tree. Delicious. My favorite mango tree that we have back here. It's also the most expensive. Mom was nice enough to let me buy this one for $89, 7 gallon. Now they cost well over $150 if you buy them on the same site. So I think we got a deal here. It's been propped up because it's kind of linky, but as it grows older, you could probably remove the stakes and it'll be just fine. The fruit is definitely a 10 out of 10. Delicious coconut notes. Love this tree. Okay? So, all right. Next up, we have the green sapote. It's growing right next to the Chico Sapote. But you know, people may ask you why I decided to have them planted so close, and the best reason I can tell you is because I think that it produces a microclimate here in the backyard, and it gives the trees, you know, that probably wouldn't grow here a little bit more warmth, so that they can grow and get big. So that's why I did it. Plus, we don't have a lot of room back here, and you know me, I want to get as many trees in as possible without making it too crazy, right, Jen? All right, this next one is our Haas avocado tree. It is standing at about 9.5 feet tall, and once again, I would not let it get bigger than this. I don't mind if the branches kind of go out and around, but as far as height, I want to be able to pick the fruit. So, and speaking of fruit, we got some last year that was pretty good, but already this year we've got a lot of fruit growing on this tree. And this tree was gifted to us by Marilyn McCullum, my master teacher from Saravilla Middle School. And it's just been a really nice tree. Avocados like water though, so make sure you don't let that tree dry out. This tree right here with the flaky bark, try and get a full shot there for you. It's called the cherry of the Rio Grande. It's in the family with the Eugenias, the Suriname cherries and all of that. Pretty decent fruit. We have a nicer tasting one out on the park strip, but this one, I kind of like the bark, how it flakes off like this. Looks kind of cool. And it has pretty colors in it. But yeah, not a lot of leaves for whatever reason, but fruit's pretty good. It's already fruited this year, back probably in March. So some more fennel. Saw some fennel back there by the green sapote. Some more fennel. It's, once again, it's a good herb. Mom, you can use it for salmon and things like that, but it also brings in the bees, which is good for the trees and the pollination. Okay. Here's our other Chico Sapote, and this is the ox variety, and it looks like, you know, I didn't strip these leaves because I wanted to see an experiment, a side by side on them, but hey, it looks like we're getting flowers on this one as well, so good news. Not sure if the stripping of the leaves did that then, because this one was not stripped of any leaves. This is the Oxachub variety. It's supposed to be the biggest one of the Chico Sapotes. And then this next one is our Jackfruit. Now this is the one tree that I would say you can let get bigger than 10 feet. I would say 15 feet was probably a good height for this tree. And this is definitely not a tree that would normally grow in this area, but I've seen fruiting trees down in Fountain Valley, so I know it will fruit. Just got to be patient with this one. Don't take the axe to it. It will grow eventually. I've seen male flowers on it, so I'm sure we'll get female fruit eventually. This is the tree that Mommy calls the butt tree because it smells like butt. But I think it smells like juicy fruit, which, okay, well, that's that. Next up, we've got our Passiflora edulis, or the passion fruit vine. And Mommy, I know you don't like this, but it is a delicious tart tasting fruit. It's good for juices, probably alcoholic beverages if you guys decide to drink. This next one is called the Jujube. This is my favorite variety. This Jujube is of the honey jar variety. It's a very sweet fruit. Here's some green fruit right here for you. And looks like we're gonna get a lot this year. It seems to go in waves every year. So one year not so good, next year really good. So this is a really good year, I think. And it's deciduous, so this tree loses its leaves in the wintertime, which makes it look pretty ugly. But in springtime, you get new leaves and flowers. And it's an absolutely delicious fruit. Alright, moving on. This is supposedly this is Suriname cherry with lots of grass growing up through it, but you can tear that grass out if you'd like. That's not good grass, it's crab grass, but it's hard to control it. I don't spray any weed killer back here because I don't want you guys to get sick. I just pull it all by hand, or I use an action hoe to take it all out. But the more I look at this, the more I think it may be Cedar Bay cherry and not Suriname cherry, which is not a bad thing because Cedar Bay is supposed to be really good. I've never had it. All right, This next one is Altalfo mango, also known as a champagne mango, closely related to the Manila mango. And this is the one that we buy at Costco that we love so much, the little yellow one. And we've gotten fruit on it. It's pretty good fruit. So I would say it's probably like an 8 out of 10 for fruit. Real small size, but pretty delicious fruit. And I would say that's another one you can get 10-15 feet if you want, because you're going to get so much out of it. And growing next to it, this is Chinese Che, or also known as Chinese mulberry, and it's got thorns, so watch out. There's a male and a female planted there, so watch what you do as far as trimming. But I wouldn't let this thing get bigger than like 6 feet. I've heard mixed reviews on the fruit. I hear it tastes like watered down watermelon, but I'm still curious to try it, so that's why I'm growing it. And behind it, there's all sorts of squash growing, or watermelon, not sure what that is, but I'm going to leave that and see what we get out of it. We got a lot of pumpkin growing around the house this year. I guess I must have dispersed a bunch of Bob's seeds from across the street. This next one is called a Royal Special Mango, and we don't really know much about it, except that it's got these beautiful new leaves that come out, bright red crimson colored, and it's called Royal Special. At least that's what it was tagged when I bought it at Exotica Nursery down in Vista. So I'm not sure if it's a green mango, but all mangoes eventually will ripen, sometimes just on the counter. If you do like it green, my Vietnamese friends tell me that chili and salt, or chili and fish sauce, is the way to go. That doesn't sound appetizing to me, but maybe you'll like it. So I'm excited to see what kind of mango that is. Here we got some more dragon fruit. Okay. Same thing, it's on a trellis, so hopefully you'll get fruit one day, but we'll see about that. Okay. This is our pomegranate tree, which we love. It's got a lot of good fruit. This is the wonderful variety. The big thing with this one is it is deciduous, so the leaves will fall off, and there's thorns on it, so watch out. But in the springtime, you'll get lots of shoots growing from the base, and you just got to trim them back. And then same thing with the trunk. I just trim off all the new growth so it looks like a tree. Otherwise, you're going to have a big spiny bush on your hands. On the side here, can't really tell where it is at this point, but I grafted on some Parfionca, which is a seedless variety and a delicious variety. Most people think that Parfionca is the best tasting. Rick doesn't think so, but mostly everybody else. So we're going to just say it's the best variety. So watch where you trim, or maybe just not trim on this side so much. I do tape up the trunk so that they'll grow more erect. Otherwise, like I said, it turns into a bush. You can start kind of see all that grass I was talking about right there at the base of the dragon fruit. Go ahead and tear that all out. We don't like that grass, but I wouldn't spray anything. So recently I planted this beautiful tree. No, it's not really beautiful at this point. And then this seedling down here of the same species. This species is called Spanish lime, or ganip. It's also known as mamacilo. Spanish lime is in the lychee family. Has a green outside shell. You take the shell off and has an orange center. Rick tells me that it's like bubble gum. You chew on it for a while and then you can eat it. But he says it's really good. So he also says the tree gets big. So I would say do not let this tree get bigger than like 10 feet, because you don't need a big tree on your hands, and who wants to climb a ladder to get the fruit, right? Moving on. Next up we have our coffee, Arabica Coffee. I prune the tips so that it'll branch out more and give us fruit. Yeah, the cherries, I haven't tried this actual plant, but the cherries they're kind of whatever. Honestly, I grew coffee as kind of a nostalgic thing because I like coffee so much. But I don't know if we'd ever get enough coffee to do anything with it. Alright, here is our papaya tree. Not very big, about 6'5". I'm 6'4", so. But we've got a ripe one right here, which I'm going to pick later on with Molly or Jack and try that. That's pretty small, but it's been there for a while, so I'm excited to see what it tastes like. Alright, we got some random potted plants over here. This, on the other hand, and same with this, is an edible vegetable. You can eat the leaves. It's called Katuk, K-A-T-U-K, and it produces, it's got like a interesting kind of peanutty, nutty taste to the leaves. Real good there, in my opinion at least. Yeah. Hasn't done real well in this location, but you know, still, it's a fun little plant. We got some tomatoes growing here. And then I got these 2 papaya trees from Ben Poirier. I'm not sure how you say his last name. I know I messed that one up, but you know me and last names. I'm not very good at them. It's a Bababco papaya, and I haven't gotten fruit yet, but it is finally growing now, so maybe one day we'll get some fruit. And then right here, if you can see, this one little skinny one and this over here, these are pawpaws, okay? North American Annona. This is the K2 papaya, and this one is the NC1. Okay, and so I got those mail order. They haven't done much, but friends in CRFG tell me that they do grow here. They're more used to the Midwest and the South of the United States where it gets colder, but we'll see. Alright, scanning up. Got another Jujube. I got this Jujube from Alex Silver at, I bought it from him at the Green Scene one year. He's from Papaya Tree Nursery. It's a little pricey. I haven't bought anything else from him for that reason. But this is a Chang variety. So, not 100% sure. I believe that it's a Chang. It could be a Li or a Lang. Honestly, I wouldn't know the difference. Hey, the AC started. That's good news. And real quick, we've got our longan. This big longan I got from Magnolia Nursery. And it is an unknown variety. I don't know the variety, but it's got fruit on it already. Right? See, that's the fruit. And then it's got new growth. So even though the leaves look kind of droopy, I think it's in a pretty healthy state. Because this just grew recently. It didn't have a fruit on it when I bought it. Well, it did. I just cut it off and a new shoot popped up. So once again, it's planted in a hole, and I do that for water capture, and I also do it because I throw scraps down there to get the worms going. And I also believe that it creates kind of like an earthen mound system to keep the tree warmer, right? To make it more like its original habitat. So that's the backyard, and thanks for sitting through that. I know I talk too much, and I know that I've got probably, I know I have too many trees, Jen, but you know, one of the reasons I did this, because I do enjoy watching you and the kids eat the fruit and try new things and eat healthy. And a lot of this fruit you wouldn't be able to find at a grocery store, so it brings me happiness that you guys get to experience this fruit and enjoy it for years to come. I did grow all of this for you guys, and I hope that you get to enjoy it. More than anything else, I want you to know how much I love you guys with all my heart.